Though, of course, there's some caution across Asia continuing, so we take that right on board. Thanks, Nigel, for all of those cues. Well, let's have an interesting conversation on a Bernstein call now. And here's what Bernstein has said, by the way, since we're talking about caution. They've said that they're closing out their long value and small caps call in India. And now they're becoming bullish on quality stocks. So what's causing this shift? Let's ask Rupal Agarwal, Senior Research Analyst, Asia Quant Strategy at Bernstein. Rupal, thanks very much for joining and good morning to you and happy Monday to you. So getting a little cautious on small caps on the broader market in India?
Yes, absolutely. So typically, when we see early parts of the recovery globally, that really works in favor of these cyclical stocks in India, which are more value and small cap names. But we've now moved more from those early parts of the recovery to more mid-cycle recovery. And that, sort of is providing a limited macro support for these names. At the same time, we are seeing economic recovery slowing down broadly in Asia. And historically, we've seen that, value and small caps don't do well during these macro regimes. And on the other side, we find quality names in India doing much better. So from the macro perspective, we are clearly in a stage where we are seeing limited support for these cyclical names.
Okay. Rupal, good morning. So what kind of stocks would you be still bullish on India? IT stocks have done well, for example, but they have been horribly expensive. Banks have started to make a bit of a comeback. But what would be your own sort of portfolio call now?
Sure. So when we look at quality, there are a few aspects. One, we look at a blend of, return on invested capital and balance sheet quality. So that is our preferred measure of looking at quality names. But then we look at companies which have actually not done that well in the last 1 month. So we exclude the extreme ends of the market, which are stocks that have done very well or the ones that have been the worst hit. We exclude both those ends and look only, at the stocks which have not been in the focus. The idea being that, these are stocks which have been ignored by investors and hence they end up generating much more alpha in the next 1 to 12-month window. So from that perspective, if I look at from a sectoral angle, we'll have, of course, a lot of staple names, a few discretionary, some metal names. Not a lot of IT. We still have emphasis in the portfolio, but not a lot of IT in our quality portfolio.
Okay, got that. Well, Rupal, good morning. I was going through your list of stocks that you prefer, and you still have a lot of auto names in there, names like Eicher Motors, Hero MotoCorp. Stocks like Hero Moto have been in a bear market of their own, of course, for challenges that we know, the semiconductor shortage, slowdown in demand, higher ownership costs. Are you still bullish here? Would you keep the faith?
Yeah, so the way that we look at is more from a style perspective. And I think we are clearly heading in a phase where overall quality as a style will pick up in India. So I would say we are in a very similar phase like what value and small caps were last year. Quality now looks at a very similar inflection point, where we are seeing that earnings downgrades have bottomed out. We are seeing, a bit of traction there. Macro tailwinds have, reduced. We have actually increased for quality names. And we are seeing that, we are at a point where there will be increased momentum in these names. So all this put together, we think quality as a style will pick up. And within that portfolio, I don't really look at stock specific, characteristics, but we don't even exclude names which are in the portfolio. So, if it's in our portfolio, I'll keep the faith and, assume that they will pick up from here.
But I can see lots and lots of FMCG names in that list. Let's pull up the graphics again for our viewers. Pidilite, Marico, Dabur, there's Colgate, there's Page Industries, there's ITC. Now, Rupal, barring ITC, which is its own story, when it comes to valuations, are we in a situation, because India is its own market, that it's going to be quality at any price?
Absolutely. And in fact, if you look at India, almost everything is expensive, right? So it's not just high quality names. If you look at the low quality portfolio in India, that's trading at almost peak levels, right? So the point being that high quality now is actually offering a relative valuation advantage to low quality. And if we are moving in an environment where economic recovery is slowing down globally and valuation concerns are clearly increasing, we think it's better off, taking more exposure to quality names than hiding in low quality names, because low quality, will always have a very high exposure to value and smaller caps. They tend to do very well early parts in the value rotation. But now we are nowhere close to those early, value cycles. And hence, it's better off, hiding more in the quality names.
Okay, Rupal, what's the Bernstein view overall on the emerging market universe, and what's happening with the taper talk, and what kind of implications it could have?
Sure. So overall, we are still remaining bullish on emerging markets, especially emerging Asia. But we do believe that this is a time to be quite selective. Emerging markets, of course, one of the key markets is China. China has been under pressure because of a lot of regulatory concerns. But we still believe that there are opportunities within Chinese markets. So that's our key positioning, that one can still continue to add more risk from emerging markets perspective, but the selection needs to be very, very particular, specifically more within the Chinese context, more in the older economy side of the market, which are less likely to see regulatory concerns compared to some of your newer economy side or high growth market, which is continuing to see a lot of regulatory scrutiny.
Okay. Well, coming back to your stocks, that you prefer in our markets, you spoke about how quality is something that you think will bounce back once again as a slowdown in the economic growth, is at a time when the economy is slowing down, quality picks up. Within the pharma space, stocks like Divi's Labs are something that you've liked for a while. But do you also believe that, these other spaces, whether it's diagnostic companies, whether it's hospital companies, the new age pharma companies that are getting into digital and tech in a big way, do you think these will also present a good opportunity for investors? I mean, they have already, but what is your prognosis going forward?
So I think we will stick to the names which are appearing in our portfolio. We don't really, from a quant perspective, we don't really drill down into sub-sector level. But as you rightly mentioned, a lot of these stocks have already been doing well. We do believe that healthcare, of course, is one of the key quality sectors, so to say, in India. But I think we've already seen quite a bit of price action within healthcare, and that's why you see that within our portfolio you don't have a lot of healthcare names, because we are only looking at this neutral zone in the market, wherein companies which have just not been doing well in the last 1 month, or have not gained a lot of momentum, but will start getting that traction in the next 1 to 12 months. So that's basically the key idea, because these are companies which have historically always picked up much sharply compared to your broader quality portfolio.
Okay, got that. Rupal, great chatting with you this morning. Thanks very much for joining in and explaining that call to us. That's Bernstein closing out their long value and small caps call and going all in on quality now. We'll take a break on that note. On the other side, our list of top stocks to watch out for this Monday morning.